Who are you?
Thank you for asking. I didn't think you would. I'm Alana.
Wow.
Listen. Janice, what are we doing here?
We're creating a podcast.
What's the podcast called? For all the listeners
Podditea.
out there. Cool. Okay, let's talk about the
Podditea.
name. Can we talk about the name Podditea for a second?
It's supposed to be a play of podcast and pot of tea.
Yeah, except I came up with the name and I didn't even think about that. Okay, so...
You didn't?
No.
What?
Okay, yeah, because that's like
What?
the whole thing. Because a week later, I was like, hey, do you know this is a pun of the word pot of tea?
You didn't know?
No, because I was like, pod, and then I was like, oddity, which is a word.
Yeah.
And then it's like, Podditea, which is like, oh, like oddity, but like podcast. And then I was like, but we should call it tea because we want to do tea parties. And then a week later, the ball dropped. Anyway, so welcome to Podditea. What are we doing in this podcast, Janice?
Like this specific one?
Like the tagline. What's our tagline?
Like today?
What's the podcast tagline?
We have a tagline?
Yeah.
This is news to me, folks.
No, I wrote it
Just
down. I
saying.
showed you. Okay, hang on.
I don't remember it, but okay.
I showed you the description, right?
Mm.
Podditea. Two friends navigate the world after undergrad through bi-monthly cross-country tea parties.
Dum dum dum.
I feel like we should start the podcast by saying that.
Well, we started this one already, so.
We're gonna edit this out.
What?
No, maybe that
was great!
Not the whole thing, just like some
No, that
of
was
it.
good.
We're gonna pare down a little bit. Okay, so, it's summer. It's the end of summer.
It's
almost the end of
August.
summer.
It's past my birthday, folks.
Yeah, how old are you, Janice?
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
Can you say it without the Taylor Swift?
No, it's too late.
Okay. You gonna ask me how old I am? Or we go? Just gonna leave it like that?
How old are you, Alana?
I'm 21.
She's turning 22 later.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't want the whole world
As
on
is
your
the
birthday.
the linear nature of time progressing.
Is it linear?
Yes. I'm gonna say a hesitant yes.
Hesitant, yes.
Everyone's gonna get mad at me because people like Doctor Who and whatever.
That's gonna be like circular.
Wibbly wobbly.
Doo doo doo.
So it's summer.
What have we been doing this summer?
I don't really want to talk about what we've been doing this summer. So we're gonna talk about grad school. We're gonna talk about grad school, and we're gonna talk about like whatever else Janice is doing. We're not really sure what Janice is doing.
Oh, wait, but the whole point of the summer one was to not talk about school.
Exactly. So like we don't talk about what we've been doing school related. So I've been doing like an internship, and Janice has been doing like school
a lot of stuff.
A lot of
different stuff.
But we don't want to talk about that because it's summer, and you know how like when you're in grade 2 and you're like, oh, I don't want September to start because then you have to go back to school. That never ends, folks. That just keeps happening.
Really?
I'm looking forward to September, but it's also like, ugh, I have to do stuff in September, you know?
See, guys, for me, like Alana mentioned, I have been doing some school stuff as well as working for the past few months. And one job of mine ends actually with September, but the rest continues, so it's not really a whole fresh start for me in that way.
Time is almost linear.
I like how you bring this up like a few minutes later.
You gotta just do some callbacks, otherwise people aren't gonna be paying attention.
Do do do.
So what are we gonna talk about today, Janice? Oh wait, we should probably talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
a good idea.
Fortunately for all you listeners,
you have to learn about us.
Fortunately.
Oh, fortunately.
Fortunately for all of you listeners out there, we're not just, automatons with bachelor degrees. We actually have personalities.
Maybe.
Well, okay, Janice, tell us about you.
Wait, like the job interview, tell me about you kind of spiel.
You don't have to impress me.
Like,
I'm not hiring you for anything. No, although if you do mess this up, you are kicked off the podcast.
Wow. Okay, so I'm 22, born and raised in Canada. I met Alana almost 10 years ago. Actually,
like
before
a central
that,
defining point of your life.
I'm not quite sure what to say. I played the piano. I love to write. I love to read.
What kind of things do you write?
I'm currently working on a novel. NaNoWriMo's coming up for people who don't know what that is. That's National Novel Writing Month.
Which month is that?
That takes place in November. So I'll be trying to write 50,000 words.
Do you start before November?
No,
or do you just
I'm planning right now.
You can do that? You can just plan your whole book and then you just write it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had to start from nothing.
No.
Okay. I don't write, that much.
Elena used to write.
Well, I don't really write books.
That's fair enough.
I have other talents.
No, yeah, Elena's really, really super duper talented.
Okay. Well, you said it, not me. Do you want to say anything else about yourself? What's your favorite thing in the world?
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Actually, I don't know.
We're cutting that.
What?
I'm editing this podcast.
Why?
Okay. You can go in the blooper reel. I think everything that you say is going to go in the blooper reel. The podcast is going to just be me talking to myself.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know what my favorite thing in the world is.
I know what my favorite thing in the world is.
I'm trying to think of what your favorite thing in the world is.
I'll tell once it gets to me. I'll tell you.
Is it puppies?
No, but that's up there.
I like puppies.
Do you want to talk about the puppy we just saw today?
Yeah, we got to walk a puppy and pet a puppy.
Yeah.
And it was just so energetic, and it kept pulling us everywhere. But it was so cute. Elena and I, neither of us have puppies, just so people are aware of why we are so enthusiastic about this puppy.
If you're not enthusiastic about puppies, then
this might not be the podcast for you.
This is the wrong podcast for you. If this is secretly just a podcast about puppies.
Puppy, puppy, puppy.
You gonna ask me about myself or no?
Okay, so Elena, enough about me, because obviously I don't know enough about myself.
Yeah, maybe you can come up with other things to talk about later.
Tell me something about you.
Okay, well, basically the only thing of interest...
Oh, chocolate. Sorry.
So, Elena, tell me about yourself. Oh, thanks, Janice. I'm so glad you asked. The only important thing to know about Elena as a person is that I know Harry Potter better than anybody. I will fight you.
Fight me.
I'll fight you. I listen to podcasts that are about Harry Potter, and I'm like, you got that wrong.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you positive?
Yes. But I'm not going to call out any podcast just in case they're listening.
See, I was trying to listen to these Game of Thrones. Oh, that's my favorite thing. Game of Thrones.
As of?
Like a year ago when I started reading the books.
Okay. So my obsession has gone back to the time that I was 4 years old.
4? It wasn't out when we were 4.
Harry Potter?
Was it?
Yeah. The first book was written in 1997.
What?
Yeah.
Huh. I remember reading the third book in grade 8. In grade 3.
I did a book report on the 5th book in grade 3. My book report was
the 5th book couldn't have been out. It was Prisoner of Azkaban.
The 5th book. The 5th book.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
The Order of the Phoenix.
No, Prisoner of Azkaban
is the 3rd book.
And I remember it coming out in like grade 3.
No.
Because I remember writing a book report on it.
I wrote a book report on the 5th one when we were in grade 3.
This doesn't make
sense. I can pull up my book report if you want. I bet it's somewhere.
Oh, by the way, we're at Alana's house. Just so people know.
This is a reunion podcast because we haven't left yet.
Is it really called the reunion one?
Yeah, we left previously, back in... Well, we weren't in the same city in July.
Or during undergrad.
So this is kind of a reunion. I mean,
we're technically not in the same city,
This is the worst
actually.
podcast ever.
We technically don't live in the same city.
No, we've never actually lived in the same city.
Because of how the city boundaries are.
Due to the constraints of the space-time continuum.
Do-do-do.
Anyway, I'm gonna look up what year Harry Potter 5 was published.
Anyway,
I know that Harry Potter 6 came out when we were in England in grade 5, so I'm pretty sure
I wasn't in England. I met in case you didn't listen to podcast number 000.
000? What is this one? 001?
Yep.
Okay. Are we gonna have hundreds of podcasts?
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, Alana and I met each other about 10 years ago. I might have mentioned that earlier in this podcast. Whoops. So yeah, and now we've graduated university. Not that we're trying to talk about school or anything right now, because it's summer. Bah, humbug.
I just showed Janice that the publication date of The Order of the Phoenix was in 2003, when we were in grade 3.
I remember reading the third book and writing a book review about it like grade 1 to 3, somewhere in there. So I'm wondering, when did that come out then? Was she releasing one? The third one.
The third one? I think it came out in like 2001.
So grade 1.
No, not 2001. It must have been like 1999. I'm reading the 4th book right now. So,
it can't be I remember it coming out. This is messing me up. Guys, maybe I'm actually older than I think I am. And I got brainwashed. It would actually explain so much.
Oh, I looked up Prisoner of Azkaban release date and it came up with the movie. I was like, that date is later than the 5th book.
Anyway, folks. Oh, I'm going to a Harry Potter festival. Did I tell you that, Elena?
Yeah, you did.
Oh. I was trying to create
1999.
conversation for this. What? This makes no sense.
Okay, so basically
Janice does not know her Harry Potter dates.
Yeah.
I think
That's the takeaway from this. Basically, here's the situation.
Alana knows Harry Potter.
The only thing of interest about me is that I love Harry Potter, and I know more about Harry Potter than most people.
That's not the only thing of interest.
That's the only thing I can think of at the moment.
Can I talk about things about you?
Sure.
So Alana can't read music the greatest, but she's really
so
good at playing by ear.
You
So she's really good at harmonizing. If you heard her intro song, that was all her idea. She's really good at like knitting and crocheting, and didn't you do some embroidery for a while?
Like I was going to, but then I didn't.
But she's really creative. Like she makes her own skirts and stuff and such, and that's really cool.
Well, the only reason that I do that is that I hate clothes.
Yeah, but the fact that you do it is cool.
Okay. Well, I can teach you how to do that. It's pretty easy.
Alana puts up with me and our other loud friends. That's something.
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about our personalities. Janice, tell us about your personality.
I don't know my personality, folks. It changes by day and mood and night and minute.
So that's pretty consistent. The inconsistency of your personality is pretty consistent.
Truth.
Do you know, I listened to this Invisibilia podcast about the myth of personality. Did you listen to that one? Have you been listening to Invisibilia?
No. Now,
if you're not listening to Invisibilia, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Now here's something to note. Alana and some of our other friends are much more constant podcast listeners.
I basically listen to podcasts whenever I do anything.
See, meanwhile, folks, I'm usually listening to music more because I enjoy podcasts. However, I'm usually doing stuff with words for my various projects and work, so I don't want to listen to someone else talking while I'm trying to come up with my own words.
That would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, but anyway, I prefer music, so I have listened to podcasts, and I have it on my phone. I try to listen when I can, like when I'm on the bus and stuff, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm gearing up for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, so part of that's research. So actually, usually when I'm on the bus, I'm working on that nowadays. So yeah, to take away from that, Alana listens to a lot more podcasts than Janice does.
Yeah, I listened to 2 different Harry Potter podcasts.
I tried listening to some Game of Thrones ones, but it was on PREunion with Stitcher, and I was just like, oh, I can't listen to you.
Yeah.
Sad face.
Write in and tell us what Stitcher is, because I don't know.
So Stitcher is a podcast app,
Okay.
which is what I use to access them. And you can actually, if it's not a premium one, you can choose listen later where you actually download it so you can listen to the podcast offline.
Yeah.
Otherwise you have to be connected to Wi-Fi.
That's what I do on mine. I just download them and then I listen to them whenever.
Yep.
Should we talk about the book?
Yeah, so recently Alana lent me a book called Chemistry. Does Alana want to give a summary?
Sure. Okay, so my mom actually gave this book to me. It's called Chemistry, which is, like, I guess on the surface, kind of the sort of book that I, as a chemistry student, would want to read. But anyway, it's about a girl. I think we're pretty sure it's a girl.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure it's a girl? I don't know.
Pretty sure.
I read it assuming it was a girl. It's a picture of a girl on the cover. It's like, you know, the washroom symbol for girl?
Oh, it is a girl. It is a girl. No, we know it's a girl because
sure?
they talk about the heritage and like filial piety, and they talk about being a daughter and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it is a girl.
So it's a girl. The reason that we're not sure about it is because it's from the perspective of the author, and they never give her name. So
though it's not the author writing about herself, I'm pretty sure. I hope not.
the perspective of the narrator. Actually, it might be almost semi-autobiographical because
I hope not. I kind of really hope not.
No, because it's kind of sad, but not really sad.
Yeah.
She did her. So here's the author is, how do you pronounce that?
I don't know. There's different ways. Okay, so background. So this author is Asian, and I am coming from an Asian background as well, but there's so many different dialects and stuff, and sometimes when you translate it to English, it gets anglicized and stuff. So right now I'm very hesitant in wanting to try and pronounce this, because while I can think of various ways, I don't want to say it really incorrectly, so my apologies.
Would you take a guess at how do you pronounce her last name?
Wang.
Okay.
Weike Wang?
Her name is spelled Weike. So if you want to look it up, it's an excellent book. It's really, you read it in a day.
I read it in a day. It was really sad. Like, I came to it in a bad mood, and I read it, and it made me more sad.
Oh
but
my
then the thing
gosh.
is, it's one of those things where it takes you with your mood. So even though I was in a bad mood, and it didn't necessarily help in some ways, the book, when it got uplifting, my mood also got better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of read it. I had like, I've been sick for the last week, and it's been like a really crappy sickness. And I had like a massive headache the other day, and I was reading it while I was having a massive headache, and I'm like, this book represents my massive headache. But it's so good that it's like, it's not like it gives you a headache, it's like it just kind of embraces your headache.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about this book. So,
Do you want to give a summary, or should we just read the synopsis, or like how?
No,
do we do
I'm going to
this?
give a summary because like anyone can read the synopsis, but only I can give a summary from my head, I guess. I'm just gonna give a synopsis because I read it like a while ago and I can't remember everything. But basically, so it's what my mom told me. Her synopsis was it's about a chemistry grad student who goes crazy. That's basically what she told me.
I would not put it that way.
No. So basically, it's about a girl, and she's doing her PhD in chemistry at the University of Boston, and she is fed up with it. So I'm still in the phase of my life where chemistry is very exciting, and I still really like it. I feel like in a couple of years, I will not be in that phase anymore. And so I feel like this person will represent my perspective in a couple of years. But basically, she gets fed up with it. She kind of has a mental breakdown, smashes some glassware, and then takes a leave of absence. And then it's basically about her life as she tries to get back on track. Or not.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate summary. A huge part of it for me, again, in the novel, the narrator, she talks a lot about her heritage and her parents and her family and how that shaped her. So she is of Chinese heritage. We know that because they do say China. Mm-hmm. And she talks about her parents and their own lives and how they've grown up and how they're immigrating to USA in this case, how that's played out, how that's affected her. You hear about different attitudes and stuff, and personally, I'm Chinese as well. I mean, I don't study chemistry, and my parents are not like the parents in this book, but I can understand certain concepts and such that she explains because I do see it within my culture. I do hear about it. And it's really, really interesting just to see that for me because I've read, I'm not going to say a lot of books, but I've read a good amount, I think. I like reading. And yeah, it's really nice to see a bit more representation, a bit more attempts to try and explain that because a lot of people don't necessarily understand how the culture can be and how it can affect people, especially growing up and later on in life.
Yeah, as somebody who hasn't had that kind of culture, I thought that it was a good way of trying to represent it. Maybe I don't know if it's accurate because I have you as a friend, but comparing the two, it seemed relatively consistent. But again,
parts of it
it's different to see it from supposedly inside the head of a character as opposed to listening to the testimony of your friend.
And especially I will note, with this character, I'll say for me, with her parents were very strict. They were very much wanting to put their girl to be ambitious, and they want her to do well in life. And they struggle themselves. And the thing is, that's really cool because they seem really harsh. And at first, as the narrator's thinking back, she's only remembering the bad stuff. But as she starts also remembering the good points, I like it because you see the complexity in the character. In herself, and the narrator, and her parents who she's recalling, and others she observes. I think there's really cool subplots. Like a character in there is always the best friend, and that's what she's called. And we follow the best friend as she has a baby, as she deals with issues with her husband. And I think that was a really cool subplot because it also in some ways reflects and intertwines well with the narrator and what's happening there. And then there's issues with the boyfriend, which was really cool because honestly, I know some of that stuff I get, what was going on in there. About drifting away from people, about not matching up with a person, and just, it's a struggle. Compatibility rather than necessarily being perfect for each other and perfect understanding and just having mutual respect for each other and how important that is, especially when there's different cultures at play. It's not a book I'd quote. I will say that. It's not a book where there are lines I would want to quote.
I would quote the heck out of this book. Can I read a line that I really loved? Okay, the thing is that I think that I appreciate it for a very different reason than you did. Because first of all,
I like their writing style because it pulls you in with the narrator.
Yeah, the narration.
It's first person.
It is so unique. I think the way that she narrates it.
I like how she explains science concepts, like how she's teaching the kids.
Yeah, she did her undergrad at Harvard, but she did her undergrad in chemistry, and then
we're talking about the author. By the way, now, not the narrator.
Sorry,
I was thinking about the narrator.
Although I think that the narrator also did her undergrad in Harvard because there was a part of the book where she is telling her psychologist or her therapist, I guess, that she got accepted to quote unquote the best school in America, which I think is probably Harvard.
Yeah, maybe, arguably.
But like for a lot of things, I think that Harvard might be it.
A lot of people do put Harvard as top.
Yeah. Anyway, I think this is like, so what I appreciated, I really liked the writing style. I think that was maybe the thing that I most.
You wanted to keep reading. That's
it is really the sort of thing where it's like I can't put this book down, and like that sounds.
I did just because there were one or two moments where I was just feeling like crappy, partially because of my already bad mood going into reading the book, and then just like again the book, there are definitely points where it's just very like it takes you with the narrator. That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
You just really want to know like what's she gonna do next, kind of thing. Like in her like weird, she's like a weird character, but
she's trying her best. That's the thing. Like you can tell she's trying. Like she's struggling.
But I think that she's comfortable being not normal, which I like. Can I read this piece? Okay. So basically, context for this is that she and her boyfriend and her dog are living in an apartment, and the apartment has a leak, like a thing, and it's a big mess. They have to move out of the apartment so that they can get it repaired. So, because the inn has no kitchen, we have been eating a lot of granola bars. I don't understand when I read on food packages that something is chemical-free. I immediately take offense. Everything is made up of chemicals. To say that something is chemical-free is to say that inside this package is an absolute vacuum. Why would I pay this much for a vacuum? Also, how much granola is too much? I like how she pulls it back. Like, I like how she kind of starts talking about, like, a thing, and then chemistry concept, and then is, like, humorous statement.
No, I like that too. It's tangency, like tangential. Her thoughts just move.
Yeah.
And I get that, because mine's like, wee, sometimes.
Yeah, I like it. Anyway, it's a good book. Is there anything else you want to talk about with it?
I feel like I would need to, like, actually have the book in front of me.
You do. Here you go.
I know, but I can't pull out, like, the parts. I only read it the one time.
Yeah.
Too. So, like, I feel like if I had a few more reads...
Yeah, both of us basically just, like, sped read it, and we're just giving our, like,
quick
immediate
thoughts.
What do you think about the ending? What do you think happened? I wasn't really sure.
It was an ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Just for listeners to know. And
should we give it away?
I don't want to give it away.
Does anyone want to read this book?
I think people should try it.
Read this book.
But the thing is, it is a newer book, and from what I saw of the price tag, it might be a bit more expensive considering it's hardcover.
Find it at your library.
Hopefully, it's at the library.
We're gonna post a picture of it.
We'll post a photo of it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll make it really pretty.
This is a podcast, so there's not a ton of visuals. But we're gonna post stuff on Instagram.
And Tumblr. We can cross-post. Maybe Facebook. We have a Facebook page.
We have a lot of pages. We already talked about those.
Yeah. So that's that book. Anything else we should want to talk about here?
You wanted to talk about chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
BT dubs, if you're allergic to tree nuts and peanuts like me, you probably understand it can be quite difficult still to find treats. So my go-to the last a million years, I'm only 22 folks, has been Nestle chocolates because they have their peanut-free and nut-free lines. I just wanted to let people know though that Laura Secord now has a nut-free line. This is not a paid or sponsored advertisement in any way, I promise.
This is just like a PSA.
We should
have a segment. It's called PSAs. Okay, ready?
Sure.
PSA.
Impromptu music. Anyway, yeah, PSA. Try out the chocolate. It's really, really yummy. They have like dark chocolates, and they have crunchy chocolates like the rice ones, and they also have flavored ones like mint and maple. I tried a latte flavored one yesterday. It was so good.
Janice and I were going to have a chocolate taste test on the podcast, but that'd be, like, really boring. It would be like, nom, 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 nom. This one tastes like this.
Yeah. But just PSA, chocolate, it's really good. And I don't know if it's still there, but when I got it, they were having a sale, partially because it was introductory. So they were 4 100-gram bars for $12 when I went and learned of this. But it was really, really good chocolate, and my parents were amazed because they said that's cheap. I'm used to just cheap chocolates in general.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of somebody who doesn't have to avoid peanuts because she's incredibly fortunate in her life, that's me. it tastes just like chocolate, so eat it, even if you aren't peanut-free, if you have peanut-free friends.
They will appreciate it.
And then you don't have to worry about accidentally killing your friends.
Yeah, because that's a worry. That happens.
We didn't do it, though. We still have her. She's still here.
I've had a bag of peanuts thrown in my face, guys, and I'm alive.
That wasn't us.
Do, do, do. That's my music for
Do we have
everything.
anything else we want to talk about?
There's a lot of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah, let's say one thing. So, one of my lesser-known obsessions recently, kind of obsession, it's always been an obsession of mine, but, like, I just keep on finding, you know how, like, when you're, like, obsessed with something, and then you just kind of, like, stop being interested in it, and then you find, like, a new thing that makes you interested in it again? Is anyone familiar with this? Jens, you gotta agree with me because no one else is listening.
Yep.
Okay. So that was kind of how I felt about Myers-Briggs typology.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What?
So let me tell you about this. So first of all, everyone's heard of this thing. Everyone's heard of Myers-Briggs typology. You probably know.
MBTI, if you're more familiar with acronym.
Anyway, so, like, yeah, whatever. If you know about this, you probably even know what your type is, and you probably know what your type is because you have done a quiz online, and it tells you, and you've just never really questioned it.
If you're like me, you were first forced to do it in grade 10 careers class. If you're in Ontario, I guess, and have that curriculum. If you're not, it was a mandatory class.
Nobody's listening to this podcast, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to keep saying that because it's better than the alternative of just assuming that everyone's listening.
Oh, I'm assuming everyone's listening.
Okay. Anyway, so I first was obsessed with this in grade 9 because my brother did it when he was in grade 10, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I don't know, it's like easy to put people into categories and then be able to say some things about them. But then I stopped being interested about it because it's like, okay, I have gotten everything out of this that I possibly can. And then, a couple of years ago, I found a thing online that was talking about other things to do with Myers-Briggs, and I'm like, this is unfamiliar to me. And then I looked up what they're talking about, and then it became even more interesting. So here's the thing. Everything you know about Myers-Briggs is probably wrong. And throughout this podcast, I might talk about why it's wrong and what's the better way to think about it.
Oh, so if you're a friend of Alana's, you've probably been forced to do it several times since that's been rediscovered. But we learned that I was a different type in grade 10 if I was not the wrong type in grade 10.
Well, I don't think you were ever an intuitive type.
Rude.
I have. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know why people think that's bad.
Intuition is good.
It's not.
Okay, but my gut has always steered me wrong. Do not listen to gut feelings if you're me.
Also, don't take the word intuition on face value if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I think we've severely derailed on this podcast.
Yeah, isn't that the whole podcast point?
I don't know. This is why nobody's going to listen to it.
Our parents might.
No.
Support your friends, folks.
Support us on Patreon. I'm kidding, we don't have a Patreon.
We should get that.
If you want to pay us to
Feel
have
free
random
to.
crap come out of our mouths.
Feel free to. We won't turn you away.
We don't have a Patreon yet, but we'll get there.
One day.
Anyway, so what might come up? We might talk about this on the podcast, and hopefully I won't bore everyone to tears, because I find it very interesting, but as I hear myself talk about it, I'm like, everyone else is going to think that this is the most annoying thing ever.
No, it's really cool. Also, I'll be probably singing randomly throughout the show, and Alana will probably try to cut it out.
No, I'm going to intercut words with your singing. Just
Somewhere out there. Or I can just do it in real life.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Podditea.
Do we have an outro again?
I'm just gonna play it.
Guys, for podcast. Oops, sorry, I'm eating.
Let's just start this one over.
Like, I didn't laugh for a whole minute.
Okay, we're all very proud of you. Maybe we should put a bloopers in just so everyone knows how much you laugh in between jokes.